I want to encourage everyone to go check out John Deaton's Twitter Spaces discussion. Just so we're clear, I've been transparent about this from the beginning. And since I gave John permission to mention it publicly, I'll go ahead and confirm it myself. I hold a six-figure investment on the LinkTube platform. When I said I was buying through LinkTube, I meant it. And I followed through. Everything I've said in support of LinkTube has been truthful. And I stand by that. From the start, I believed in what we were doing. Now, could I have predicted everything that happened later? Of course not. As the current CEO of LinkTube stated on stage at XRP Las Vegas, the platform was not created as a scam. Anyone claiming it was a fraud from the outset is spreading misinformation. The CEO himself said it. That wasn't the case. We were putting our money into SPVs and legitimate opportunities. Things are definitely more unclear now than they've ever been. But one of the most important points John made, and one I wholeheartedly agree with, is that the investors matter most. I'm one of them, and that's where my concern lies. We made what we believed were smart investments. I still believe many of those assets will increase in value. I hold equity in Uphold, Ripple, Circle, and several other projects. And yes, I believe we deserve to see the growth in value from those investments. That's my current position. Unfortunately, because of an NDA, I can't jump into the public discourse or address all of the drama beyond sharing these factual points. That's just the reality of the situation I'm in, and I can't change it. Here's another important takeaway. It doesn't matter what company you promote. You can never predict whether someone behind the scenes is doing something shady. Unless you have insider access and are involved at the executive level, there's simply no way to know. And in the case of LinkTube, I had no such access. A lot of the noise right now isn't really about LinkTube. Honestly, I've dealt with critics for years, people who've tried to discredit me by jumping on anything they think might damage my reputation. They'll spend entire weekends attacking me, while I've never once called them out by name or tried to publicly tear them down. That's not who I am. And something I've noticed with this LinkTube situation, I'm not even seeing those same people commenting anymore. You know, because I blocked most of them years ago. Their issue was never really about LinkTube. It's always been personal. Whether it's jealousy, resentment, or something else, their goal has always been to try and bring me down. At the end of the day, my main concern is, and always has been, the LinkTube investors, because I'm right there with you. I didn't just talk about LinkTube. I put my own money into it too. I'm in the same boat, and I'm not just hoping to get back what I put in. I want to see these investments grow in value, because I believe we all deserve that. That's where I stand. Beyond that, I can't go into deep opinions or speculate about specific details. I'm keeping things at a high level because frankly, that's all I can do right now. Now, when I mention people taking shots at me, let me be clear. I'm not talking about honest LinkTube investors who have real valid concerns or questions. I understand that completely. I'm talking about those making wild accusations. The ones calling me a scammer with no evidence. It's false. And most of them know it's false. I've never scammed anyone, ever. If you look at how I've operated, both myself and Brad Combs have gone out of our way to be as open and honest as possible. We always tell you when something is sponsored, and believe me, I know plenty of influencers who don't disclose their sponsors or the money they're making behind the scenes. We chose to do it by the book every single time. But even doing things the right way doesn't give us supernatural insight. We're not behind closed doors seeing everything a rogue employee or executive might be doing. We don't have a crystal ball. We're not mind readers. Anyway, moving on from all that, this brings us to Swiftix, the company that acquired Caleb & Brown, and their recent announcement. Zach Rector did something really helpful. He cut through a lot of the noise and cleared up what I believe has been a wave of intentional misinformation about Caleb & Brown. He shared an update after speaking directly with the team at Caleb & Brown, and the news is all positive. Here's what he had to say. Caleb & Brown was acquired by Swiftix for $66 million USD. But despite the acquisition, it's business as usual. Nothing is changing for clients when it comes to the platform or the user experience. Swiftix, the acquiring company, is actually the biggest crypto exchange in Australia. They wanted to expand into the US market and were really impressed by Caleb & Brown's brokerage model, which led to the acquisition. And here's the important part. No client accounts are being closed. They're still accepting new customers, and all fees are staying the same. Insurance via Fireblocks is still in place, and so is the bankruptcy remote protection. From the user's point of view, everything will continue just as it always has. Same service, same protection, no disruption. Personally, I like Caleb & Brown because their model is simple and clear: spot trading, transparent fees, and institutional-grade custody that includes insurance and bankruptcy protection at no extra cost. Now, someone online said they don't trust Australian companies, but Jim Bazzani from Caleb & Brown addressed that directly. He explained that while the company is headquartered in Australia, their U.S. clients are served under Caleb & Brown, US LLC. In fact, a large part of their team is based in the U.S., and they're currently setting up a new office in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. If you're looking to open an account with Caleb & Brown, That's actually where I hold a portion of my XRP. Just head over to xrpwealth589.com. That link will take you straight to their official onboarding page. Now, as far as XRP itself goes, things have been relatively quiet, kind of a lull in the action. But I came across an interesting clip from the Modern Investor, and it's worth sharing. He made a bold statement saying the third safest crypto to hold, and one that really shouldn't be controversial, is XRP. Sure, XRP has its critics. There's been a lot of noise over the years, but here's the reality. The company behind XRP, Ripple, is arguably the most successful crypto-related company tied directly to a specific coin. We're not talking about exchanges like Coinbase or firms like MicroStrategy. We're talking about companies that actually build and deliver around a crypto asset, and Ripple has done just that. They promised real-world partnerships, and they deliver. Banks, payment providers, and yes, even governments. The barrier to entry for XRP is still incredibly low, and the current price doesn't reflect where many analysts think it's headed. We've heard the speculation, $10, $20, even $100, and while no one can promise anything, those numbers aren't just fantasy. Ripple is already working with dozens of central banks around the world. We're not talking rumor. You can literally search this yourself. Just type Ripple Central Bank Partnerships into Google. The articles are out there. This isn't hidden information. That's why, in the Modern Investor's opinion, and mine too, XRP remains one of the strongest, most fundamentally sound assets in the entire crypto space. Now, he also mentioned two other coins, Litecoin and Cardano, but we won't get into those right now. Breaking news. The SEC has officially approved Grayscale's conversion of its digital large-cap fund into a spot crypto ETF, and yes, XRP is included. This ETF will track the CoinDesk 5 index, which includes top-tier digital assets. And while the spotlight is on the ETF itself, the real story here is what it means for broader adoption of crypto, especially altcoins like XRP. Now, Bloomberg's ETF analyst weighed in. This guy knows the space, and he shared some valuable insights. He mentioned that while this ETF is a big step forward, it's not going to reach the same level of success as something like IBIT, which now has over $70 billion in assets in just a year and a half. This new ETF isn't expected to match that scale, but it's still seen as a strong entry into a growing category. What makes this fund particularly interesting is how it's getting to market before the competition, especially ahead of players like RexShares and Osprey. It's a smart regulatory move and a big win for Grayscale. This also signals something bigger. The SEC is clearly moving toward broader crypto exposure, including staking and other digital assets. Bloomberg Intelligence has been predicting this shift for months, expecting momentum to build in the second half of the year, and that's exactly what we're seeing now. One key detail that stood out is the expense ratio. It's set at 75 basis points, which is relatively high for an ETF. Why? Because this isn't your average fund. It's more complex, partly due to staking, and also because Grayscale is using a unique structure involving a Cayman Islands subsidiary. The fund will be registered as a C Corp, which is rare in the ETF space, usually only used for more specialized funds like MLPs. Also worth noting, the ETF won't just hold spot crypto like Solana. At least 40% of its holdings will include other ETFs from Canada and Europe, giving it a global exposure model. So while this product is more intricate than something like a pure Bitcoin or Ethereum spot ETF, it's a first mover, and that alone gives it a significant advantage, especially with XRP getting a seat at the table. Tuttle Capital just filed an amendment that moves the effective date for several new 2Buys leveraged crypto meme ETFs to July 16th. One of them, a 2Buys daily long XRP ETF. That's right, double the exposure to XRP, launching in what's shaping up to be a very interesting summer for crypto investors. Now, back to one of the top ETF analysts. He dropped what I think is the biggest headline of the day. XRP is finally going mainstream. After nearly 5 years of SEC versus Ripple battles, Grayscale's digital large-cap ETF now includes XRP, making it available to everyday retail investors inside a fully SEC-regulated investment vehicle. It's a major milestone, a real full-circle moment for XRP. And yes, that would make a pretty good thumbnail. XRP goes public, finally SEC approved, but the momentum doesn't stop there. A Chinese firm called Weebus just secured up to $100 million in funding from Ripple Strategy Holdings to scale up its XRP treasury operations. Big moves in Asia. Meanwhile, Jack McDonald from Ripple shared a fresh update. The June attestation for RLUSD is now live. The stablecoin's market cap has hit $440 million, and it's now officially recognized under the DFSA in Dubai. Ripple is also rolling out new partnerships to push RLUSD adoption further and build utility across global markets. And if you haven't seen it yet, Ripple just dropped a batch of clips on their YouTube channel, and one of them really stood out. It was all about the future vision for XRP DeFi, or what they're calling XRP Fi. The speaker outlined a powerful ecosystem in the works, activating idle XRP through on-chain utility, launching advanced DX, including CLMMs building money markets for lending and borrowing XRP, rolling out yield protocols so XRP holders can earn passive income, integrating real-world assets, stablecoins and cross-chain bridges to let XRP move between blockchains. The big picture, a thriving DeFi economy powered by XRP, not just on the XRP ledger but across multiple Web3 ecosystems. The goal to make XRP truly alive, usable, versatile, and deeply embedded into the fabric of the future internet. Hey legends, if this video gave you a single helpful insight, maybe a smarter strategy or a fresh perspective on crypto, do me a favor, hit that like button. It tells the YouTube algorithm this content matters. And if you're new here, subscribe. This channel is all about cutting through the noise and helping you grow your wealth in the wild world of crypto. We're building a sharp, forward-thinking community of investors, and I'd love for you to be a part of it. So hit subscribe, tap the bell, and let's navigate this financial revolution together. Thanks for tuning in. Now let's dive back in.